I mean, I try to, kind of maintain the message. This isn't dogma ideology. It's not reverse veganism. Let's do what works for you. And
Right.
I think animal-based foods are the basis of human nutrition. I think that's just a fair statement. Let me ask you, going back, because, you gained all this weight over a relatively short period of time. I mean, what was going on? What happened? Why did you gain all that weight? What do you think was happening? I mean, you weren't eating a carnivore diet, or you weren't eating a vegan diet back then. I mean,
Yeah.
diet has to play a role. I mean, it clearly does play a role. What was your diet like when you're gaining all that weight, when you maintain all that 500 pounds of mass? And what was going to your mind to allow you to continue to do that?
So the initial 200 pounds that I went from 230 to 430 roughly. My diet was, for most people, very good. I'd have oatmeal in the morning, and the rest of my meals was either white or brown rice. Half of my plate was vegetables, broccoli, asparagus, salad, and it was lean chicken breast, boneless, skinless chicken breast, and tuna. I mean, so if you look at it, I mean, I would present my diet that I was on, my nutrition plan. That's what I've always called it, my nutrition plan, to the doctors, and they would look at me and they would say, "You're not eating this. You've got to be sneaking cases of ho-hos when nobody's looking." And that never happened. It just wasn't happening. I was on a relatively clean, what most people would say was a clean diet. And so I went for years eating the same thing, knowing that I was eating good, and I was still training during this time, still doing, powerlifting, still lifting heavy, and relatively in decent health, if we could say that. And it wasn't until, I guess, late in my 20s that I finally found a doctor who would listen to me, that something was wrong. And so by this time in my late 20s, I had done my own research. And so I went in and I said, "Look, here's what I think the problem is. I think that my testosterone levels have bottomed out. And I think there's probably an issue with my growth hormone levels." So he agreed to do the tests, and found out that's exactly what it was. In my mid to late 20s, I had a testosterone level. I think my level was 87, and it's supposed to be like 600. And so I had the testosterone level of a 90-year-old man, and my growth hormone levels were pretty much non-existent. So essentially, with those two hormones being gone, the explanation that I received is that it wasn't allowing my body to actually shuttle the fat from stores into the bloodstream to be used. That's what I was told. So
Let me
that's what happened.
let me just go back to your diet. Oatmeal and rice and salads and lean chicken breast. you know, I could conceivably see where you could gain weight that, but you'd have to eat a lot of it, And so how many, I mean, do you know how many calories you were consuming if you're eating those types of food? Was it just a satiety issue, or you just, even though it's quote unquote health food, or we think it is, it may not allow you to sort of stop eating. I don't know. What was the amounts like? I mean, I can't imagine you put on 200 pounds in a couple of years eating, 6 ounces of chicken and, a cup of oatmeal. I mean, it had to have been quite a decent quantity is that correct?
Well, let me shock you then, because it was 22 to 2,600 calories a day, because I had it all portioned and planned out, because, I'm frustrated as to why I'm still gaining weight. So during that time, obviously, there was something else going on inside the body that wasn't right. And, I didn't find out about the testosterone and the growth hormone until, much later. But there was something going on, and no doctor would ever stop to consider anything else besides either, weight loss surgery or just putting me on an ultra low calorie diet. So yeah, I mean, it is kind of shocking, but that's the reality. That I was eating between 22 and 2,600 calories a day.